Welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano. Today we check in with the folks from Quincy Community Action Programs. They're getting ready for their fashion show fundraiser next month. We'll get all the details from Anna DiBiase. First, though, we take a look at the weather and the news for you currently in Quincy. It's beautiful out there, partly sunny, 71 degrees right now. A beautiful stretch of weather headed our way starting today with a mix of sun and clouds. Nice and comfortable with highs in the mid-70s this afternoon. Just a few clouds this evening, low humidity, nice sleeping weather with lows dropping off into the mid-50s. The first weekend of June looks spectacular. Lots of sunshine, just a few high thin clouds tomorrow with a high in the upper 70s. A little warmer on Sunday with mix of sun and clouds. Highs Sunday in the low 80s, and nice dry weather continues right into Monday with sun and clouds. Highs Monday into the mid 70s. Actually, the next chance for rain is not until next Thursday, so we'll enjoy this nice dry stretch. 71 and sunshine in Quincy right now. Checking out news for you today, Quincy City Council's Finance Committee will hold its final review of next year's proposed budget on Monday night. A key item on the agenda is proposed salary increases for the mayor and city councilors. Council President Ian Kane says the mayor's recommending an increase of $135,000 for his salary, which would bring it up to $285,000 a year.
The proposed salary figure there is $285,000, and that number came in below the lowest range of that study that we were presented with a few weeks back. And the assessment there is that this is, I was surprised to learn. I didn't realize that town managers and town administrators who are managing budgets in cities that are a fraction of the size of Quincy's make considerably more, to the tune of 300 plus, which is fascinating to see places like Plymouth and Cambridge. But in any event, the position of mayor, I guess, has not seen a salary increase since 2014 when it was bumped up to $150,000. So, we'll hear that in finance at the next finance committee meeting, which will be June 3rd. We'll discuss that.
Mayor's also suggesting that annual salaries for city councilors increase from about $30,000 now to $47,500. If approved, the increases would not take effect until 2025. Earlier this week, about 24 protesters rallied outside City Hall against those proposed pay increases, stating they were too high. Some protesters said that they would support a cost of living increase. City Solicitor Jim Timmons says that a state law supersedes a Quincy ordinance that would have required those proposed raises be put to a vote in an election. Quincy City Council and the Quincy Planning Board both recently approved borrowing $157 million for the construction of 2 new parking garages in Quincy Center. Those new garages would service a planned new medical building and a planned new apartment complex. Rob Stevens from the Quincy Planning Department says that those new garages will replace the former Ross parking garage and are critical to the continued redevelopment of Quincy Center.
The city has benefited from the use of the Quincy Center District Improvement Financing Program. It's Chapter 40Q, adopted by the state back in the early 2000s. We have used it since the beginning. It's been paired with urban renewal all along the way. We've had 4 bond authorizations thus far. It has gone towards a tremendous amount of subsurface infrastructure, surface infrastructure. It's funded the Kilroy Garage. The city, in addition to DIF funding, it has also pursued a number of state and federal grant opportunities, probably close to, it's well north of $50 million in state and federal grants we've gotten. We'll continue to do so, pursue federal and state grant opportunities. But what's before the council, along with Amendment 6, is the 5th bond authorization. It's a $157 million request. Of that, more than 130 is going directly towards the construction of the 2 garages in the Ross Garage area.
Fox Rock Properties of Quincy plans to construct a new outpatient medical clinic that would be operated by Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center And Atlantic Development of Hingham plans to build a 300-unit apartment building with some ground-level retail that may include a Trader Joe's market at the site of the IHOP restaurant. The so-called bad breath rapist from Quincy is back in custody after being on the run for 17 years. Toon Lee was captured in Northern California this week after he was convicted back in 2007 of raping a co-worker from his family's Kagawa restaurant in Quincy. Lee was found guilty of breaking into the woman's Quincy apartment, zip-tying her to a bed face down, and sexually assaulting her in 2005. That waitress recognized Lee from his foul breath. He was captured in 2007, but posted $100,000 bail and fled. Lee was convicted in Norfolk Superior Court in absentia. He's been living in Northern California with a woman who was unaware of his past. He will be returned to Massachusetts and face charges in Norfolk Superior Court next Wednesday. Well, the first Sunday after Memorial Day is traditionally Police Memorial Sunday here in Quincy, and Chief Mark Kennedy says that a ceremony will be held this coming Sunday at Mount Wollaston Cemetery.
We're humming along. We have our Police Memorial Sunday, June 2nd. That's right across the street at Mount Wollaston Cemetery. That's where we read the names of officers who've passed away in the past 5 years, and we always remember the officers who gave their lives in the line of duty to the citizens of Quincy. So that's a really great event. We march from the courthouse around 8:45, and we get to the Mount Wollaston Cemetery at 9 a.m. We have a little ceremony there. So if anybody's out and about Sunday, June 2nd, and they want to stop by, we welcome the public, and that's a great event.
And the following Sunday, June 9th, will be Firefighters Memorial Sunday at the Firefighters Memorial at Mount Wollaston Cemetery. The public is welcome to attend both of those ceremonies. A teacher at Quincy's Atlantic Middle School being praised for her dedication to teaching English language learners. Ms. Tao Nien has been named the recipient of the Massachusetts Association of Teachers of Speakers of Other Languages Ann Dow Award for Excellence and Creativity this year. That award recognizes exceptional educators who demonstrate excellence and creativity in teaching English language learners. Ms. Nien has dedicated nearly 3 decades to serving English language learners at Atlantic Middle School. As an immigrant herself, she identifies with her students and focuses on nurturing their identities as immigrants and emerging bilinguals. She also trains Quincy College educators to improve their teaching practices for their English learner students and serves on the state's MCAS Bias and Sensitivity Committee. Now, Quincy's annual Memorial Day ceremony this past Monday returned to a newly renovated Veterans section at Mount Wollaston Cemetery. Over the past year, the city's renovated the C Street entrance to the cemetery, reset the veterans' grave markers, and installed new flagpoles to represent each branch of the military. This year's guest speaker, North Quincy High School teacher and department head Kip Caldwell, spoke in memory of his brother Charles Todd, who was killed in Iraq in 2003.
In preparing this speech, I read that Memorial Day is a day for honoring and mourning U.S. military personnel who died while serving. I think for many, the mourning part comes easy. A picture, a particular scent, or a model airplane can bring back the feelings of grief that we experienced years, even decades ago. The honoring part can be the challenge. How do we honor these men and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice protecting our freedoms? One way to honor them is by telling their stories so their acts are not forgotten, like I just did with my brother, and then laugh and cry together. Another way we can honor them is to not allow our grief to overwhelm us. Did you hear that? We can't allow our grief to overwhelm us. John 15:13 states, "Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends."
Hundreds of spectators lined the parade route leading up to the cemetery. Later on this year, a new memorial will be installed at the cemetery to honor veterans of the Gulf Wars, plus a lone sailor statue will be installed at Marina Bay to honor Navy veterans and commemorate the former shipyard and the Naval Air Station at that site. It's our look at news for you today. Coming up, information about Quincy Community Action Program's fashion show fundraiser. That's next. Welcome back, folks, at Quincy Community Action Programs, getting ready for their 4th annual fashion show fundraiser. It is scheduled for Tuesday, June 18th from 5 to 8 p.m. on the boardwalk out at Marina Bay. So Anna DiBiase from QCAP's here to tell us about QCAP and about the events. Great to see you, Anna. Thanks for coming over.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. 4th annual, huh?
Yeah,
This year? Wow.
yeah.
How did it all get started?
So this was started 4 years ago by Denise Hajar, who runs Denise Hajar Boutique, which is right on the boardwalk in Marina Bay.
Okay.
And each year she picks a charity to have the fundraiser benefit. So this is actually, it's the 4th fashion show, but this is the first year that it is benefiting QCAP and also the Rotary Club of Quincy.
Ah, very nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. So before we talk a little bit more about that evening, let's talk about QCAP itself. It's, I
Sure.
know it's been around, what, 61 years, I think, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, next
but
year is our 60th.
60th?
Yeah.
Okay, wow. So maybe we can talk about that at a later
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
I'm sure
we'll
there's
have a big
events planned.
celebration.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but what is QCAP, Anna?
Yeah, good question. QCAP is a community action agency, so there's many of them throughout the state, throughout the country. They were established by the Lyndon Johnson administration as part of the Economic Opportunity Act. And so we serve people really of all ages who are living with low incomes and who are facing different challenges in their lives based on different barriers that they're up against. So anything from early childhood education, so we run a Head Start Center. We help families access child care vouchers to help cover the cost of child care, which we all know is extremely expensive
Yeah.
and a barrier for many parents who want to be in the workforce.
Yes.
So that's sort of the early childhood end of the spectrum. We also do adult education, English classes for English learners, and as well as high set, which is basically, it used to be called GED, so
Oh,
people
okay.
who need to get their high school diploma, and some financial coaching, which is really kind of a special part of what we do. It's really one-on-one, it's tailored to the client and their needs, and oftentimes that leads to some of our other services. Once the case workers kind of get to know their situation,
Right.
they can refer them to other programs. We do fuel assistance, which, that serves a whole range of people throughout Quincy, including many aging adults, which, there's many older adults living in homes where help with their heat bill actually helps them be able to stay in their home because then they have more money to put towards their rent or their mortgage.
Right.
Yeah, and then a big part of what we do is our community center, which has a food pantry, which is over on Copeland Street. We've been in that neighborhood since the 60s. The joke is that we've been on every corner of Brewer's Corner at this point.
Well, it's true, actually.
Yeah,
It's not really a joke.
It's not, yeah,
you really have.
we really have.
Yeah.
So most recently, this past November was
Yeah.
a year since we've moved into our new, bigger, brighter community center that we're really proud of. And so we're able to serve many more families because we have the food storage, and just the need has really increased. We're seeing many more families since
Is that
than
right?
before the pandemic. And I think food security kind of became a topic that people became aware of during the pandemic.
Correct, yeah.
And I think maybe we expected less need, the need to kind of drop after the pandemic was sort of over.
Right.
But we've seen it remain high with the food costs and all the other things that people are up against with stretching their household budgets to pay all their bills. So we're serving around 900 families a month at the food pantry.
It's amazing.
So,
yeah. And although it's called Quincy Community Action Programs, you really service the greater South Shore area, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. There's many towns that we serve. Every program can be a little bit different, but it's definitely the surrounding towns, not just Quincy.
Sure, yeah. And what is the kind of the main source of funding for QCAP?
Yeah, the funding ranges from federal dollars, so like the Head Start program, that's a federal program, and then all the state and the city of Quincy is also very generous in helping support our work. So, and then in addition, we do private fundraising, which is what this event is part
we're
of,
gonna
to
talk
kind
about,
of
yeah.
cover some of the gaps to bring programs, especially like the food pantry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say that's one of, if not the biggest service program that you have?
It's hard to kind of quantify that
Okay.
because by numbers, like our fuel assistance program serves many, many people.
Certainly,
Overall, QCAP is serving over 32,000 people, individual, unduplicated people in a year.
Really?
So yeah, so it's huge.
That is
Yeah.
huge. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
I know you have specialty programs like there's a free tax preparation program every
Yes,
year.
yeah.
That's a big help for folks as well.
Absolutely.
And how do folks access services from QCAP, Anna?
Yeah, it's a good question. Our website is a good place to start, qcap.org. Our phone number is right on there. You can give us a call, and we'll connect you with whatever program that you're interested in learning about. Sometimes the main way people come into QCAP is for the food pantry, and part of what's great about the community center is there's space for more than just food happening there. So somebody might come to the food pantry to help with food, and they may leave with access to a child care voucher, fuel assistance help, and maybe enroll in like the tax program or some financial coaching. So it's really, we talk about integrated services, wraparound services, which is something that definitely makes us unique.
Holistic, right?
Yeah.
Making sure that the whole person is taken care of.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Are there volunteer opportunities at QCAP?
Yeah, we're always looking for volunteers at our food pantry. I'd say that's most frequently the opportunities that are available.
Okay.
We're always looking for people who are willing to work in the tax preparation
Yes,
program. Sometimes that's a little harder sell. It's a little more technical, but we train everybody so that they know what they need to do through an IRS program, training program. So those are the two main opportunities, but we're always welcoming volunteers at the food center.
Okay, all right. So let's talk about the fashion show fundraiser. It's called Eat, Drink, Model.
Yes.
The 4th annual. And this is again Tuesday, June 18th, 5 to 8 p.m. on the boardwalk out at Marina Bay. The kind of subtitle is See the Need, Take Action, Support Our Community. So what's this all about, Anna?
Yeah, so it's going to be really fun. This is QCAP's first event since before the pandemic. So
Really?
really the first event we've done in 5 years or so. So we're just excited to get people back together. I think people are ready to, get out and have a good time and support a good cause while they're at it. So the event is going to be right on the Marina Bay Boardwalk, which is why we have a rain date for June 20th. So fingers crossed for great weather.
Let's
on
hope
the
you don't need it.
18th.
Yeah, exactly.
But what's great is you're right there on the boardwalk, overlooking the beautiful views
Oh,
at Marina Bay, and essentially the runway will go right down the middle of the tables.
okay.
And we'll have great music and a short speaking program so that people can learn a little bit about QCAP.
Yes.
There'll be opportunities to support us in different ways. There'll be some raffle baskets, which are going to have all kinds of sort of experiential packages, tickets to things, and that kind
Spot
of thing.
treatments
Yeah,
and
and
such,
overnight stays and that
Okay,
kind of thing.
fun.
And the Rotary Club will definitely be helping with that. They are the raffle experts, I would say.
Yes.
And there's going to be food is provided by the Common Market restaurants. So it'll be kind of light dinner. There's charcuterie on the menu, some apps, and then some complimentary wine. And some of the restaurants nearby will have their bars available if people want to go into the cash bars. And the show. So it's kind of like dinner, 6 to 7, mingle, socialize, and then 7 o'clock the fashion show will kick off.
Okay. And I mentioned tables, so what is the
Yes.
setup? What's it going to look like?
So tickets are $100 each, and each table has 6 seats.
Oh, okay.
Which I think is a nice kind of smaller number
Yeah.
versus like the Big Ten tops,
Right.
because we are seeing a lot of people kind of getting their group of friends and coming out and filling a table. So
A little more intimate setting.
yeah.
Very nice.
So
Okay.
they'll just be, we'll line them up right down the boardwalk,
Yep.
and the models will go right down the middle. And yeah, it's going to be a really great night.
So who are the models and where are the fashions coming from?
Yeah, so this is all sort of put together by Denise Hajar of Denise Hajar Boutique. So her shop is right there on the boardwalk. And she really is putting the show together. So it's her fashion designs. she, she kind of dresses the models, puts the looks together, and it's her group of professional models. So these are,
okay.
this will be a real high quality fashion show.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And are the fashions also for sale to donate to this, or how does that work?
The fashions don't necessarily support the event,
Oh,
but
okay.
we definitely encourage people after the event to shop around.
Sure.
There's many restaurants and shops around the area of Marina Bay. So we, as sort of a thank you for the community hosting this event,
Yes.
we definitely want people to
Yeah.
check it out
Okay.
afterwards.
Okay,
yeah.
so the show is actually the fashion show. That's the attraction.
Yes.
Just coming to see the latest fashions, I guess, right?
Yeah.
For spring of 2024.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and have a nice night with some good food and
Yeah.
great views and just for a
Just
good cause.
a fun social night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do the funds raised go to any specific programs at QCAP?
It goes to support QCAP programs in general,
Mm-hmm.
but I would say most importantly, it's going to support our food program,
Okay,
our food
yep.
pantry. The way that sort of the different funding streams work for QCAP, the food pantry tends to be the place where we just where there's kind of a gap that we
Yeah.
need people to help us cover so that we can continue feeding as many families as we are.
Just like in
So-
a household budget, right? It's one of the big expenses every
Absolute.
month is the food budget.
Yeah, absolutely.
And nonprofits are no exception. They have to buy food just like everybody else, right?
Right, right. Yeah,
Buying in
absolutely.
bulk, sure.
And that's another way people can help too. We have different corporations or groups or even families that want to do food drives, and
Yes.
so we're always welcoming food donations, toiletries, diapers.
Okay.
So there's a list of things on our website that are sort of the high demand items.
Yes.
So things like cooking oil and spices. You can give people food to cook, but you need the oil and the spices to
Yeah,
actually
typically
make.
those are more expensive sometimes.
And they're more
actually.
expensive,
Yeah.
and they tend to be harder to get through places like the Boston Food Bank
I see.
and things like that. So that sort of gap, or those items that really fly off the shelves,
Yep.
people in the community really help us keep the shelves full with those.
Sure. And just bring those right to the Southwest Community Center?
Yeah, yep, you can
Okay.
bring it right up. We've got a loading dock in our new
Yeah, I've seen it. We were there for
facility.
the grand opening. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a great welcoming space. You can't miss it with the brightly colored
Yes.
building, in the
Nice
corner
and
there.
bright.
Yeah. Have you found more folks finding it than have in the past? really?
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, the staff at our last place really worked wonders
I
out of a
know.
very small
was
space.
miraculous what
like
they
really,
did.
we're working miracles.
Yes.
So this just the visibility and the way that it's just helped us just improve our services because it's making things just easier to do.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And just a more pleasant experience overall,
Absolutely,
right?
yeah, we're really proud of it, and it's just a welcoming space. I think, reaching out for help, especially for the first time, can be really intimidating,
Right.
and so it's really nice to have this beautiful place for people to come, and the staff are extremely welcoming.
That's
so,
great.
Yeah.
Do you have a set goal for this particular event?
Yes, we do have a goal of $100,000
Okay,
to raise.
okay.
So we are chipping away at that goal. We
Good.
have a little ways to go, but and there are still tickets available.
Great.
But yeah, we're feeling good about that.
We should talk about maybe a deadline to purchase your tickets.
Yeah, yep. So the
beforehand?
18th
Yeah.
is a Tuesday, and so the Friday before, which I believe is the 14th,
Okay.
will be the last day for ticket sales.
Okay,
Yeah.
so hurry.
Yeah, sorry.
hurry, and get
And-
them soon.
Yeah, and you can get them on the website, qcap.org/events, and the ticket link is right there.
Okay, and I noticed that a portion of it also will benefit the Quincy Rotary Club too.
Yes,
so-
yep, they're involved, and they're going to be there that night. They're providing a lot of volunteers to help out,
great.
and yeah, so a portion of the proceeds will also support them.
Sure. Any other events later this year that are being planned right now? I mean, I know you're just easing back into it for the first
Yeah.
time in 5 years, right? So,
Yeah, there's nothing yet,
Okay.
but we will, with next year, with 2025 being our
60th.
60th, we will have something most likely next spring.
Okay.
So stay tuned.
Stay tuned for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to let folks know about right now?
I think that's mostly it. I mean,
Yeah.
we would love people who've never heard of us before to come out for the good time and then leave also knowing a little bit more about QCAP and
Yeah.
what we're doing right here in the community.
Yeah. And if you can't attend this particular event, certainly donations still be made, right?
Yes, yeah. And there's still sponsorship opportunities.
okay.
We had a sponsor come in as early as yesterday.
Oh, very good.
I do want to thank our presenting sponsor, Bank of Canton.
Okay.
They've been extremely supportive over the years, and they really stepped up for this to be the presenting sponsor, as well as many local banks and United Way, who also supports many of our programs.
Excellent. So I hope it works out to be the best ever.
Thank you.
And the first of many to come, I'm sure.
Yes.
So great to see you, Anna. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks.
You're very welcome. Just enough time to take a look at the forecast for you for the rest of the day today. Boy, if they could have weather like today on June 18th, I'm sure the folks at QCAP would be thrilled. Lots of sunshine, dry conditions, temperatures in the mid-70s this afternoon, mid-50s this evening. Sparkling weekend coming up with sunshine both days, highs upper 70s, low 80s, and really the nice weather continues into early next week. Might not rain again until next Thursday, so enjoy it till then. Thanks again to Anna DiBiase for joining us from QCAP.
Thanks for having me.
You are welcome. Thanks to our crew. Thank you for watching Monday here on the show. Margaret LaForest stopping by with an update from the USS Salem at the Quincy Shipyard. Meantime, check our website anytime. It's qatv.org. You'll find our latest programs there, news and information, video on demand, live streaming, and a whole lot more. For all of us here at QATV, I'm Joe Catalano. Have a super weekend.